Well, greetings to everybody who has joined the room. I think Kenneth will be the first one to say whatever he wishes to say. Kenneth from Switzerland. Can you hear me okay?
Hello, Ajahn. Yes, I can hear you very well. Thank you.
Okay. Any question for today?
I have to leave the meeting a little bit earlier, so I'm not going to ask any questions at the moment, Ajahn. Thank you.
Okay. Well, Claudia Schreiner from Germany. How are you?
Good afternoon from Germany. Thank you for asking. I'm glad to be here and I'm feeling well and I have no questions today. Thank you.
No question yet. Okay.
No.
Go to Kok Seng from Singapore. Kok Seng, welcome to the room.
Ajahn.
Any question?
Yes, I have. Ajahn, I just want to check whether my understanding of what I've gathered so far about your talks regarding our understanding of the COVID-19 pandemic. My understanding from what I gathered so far is this, that we should, that as a Buddhist, we should try our best to put on our mask, keep safe distancing, so as not to get to be infected. But if in the event that we are being infected, we will try to get a cure, and if we recover, it is okay. And if we do not recover and we pass on, it's okay also. So I just want to check whether my understanding is it the right understanding from the Buddha?
You want to protect your mind from any sort of disturbance from whatever happens to your body. Because if you look at the nature of the body, this is how it's going to be one day. The body will get sick and it will die from whatever sickness. When there's no cure or when the body does not respond to any cure, then it's just the end of the body. But the mind is not the body, so the mind should not be disturbed by whatever happens to the body. Because if the mind is disturbed, it means the mind is still delusional. You still cling to the body, you still think the body is itself. But the truth is, there's no need for the mind to be disturbed by anything. If you know that the mind is something different from the body. So this is our goal of practice, is to teach the mind to not be disturbed by anything that happens in this world, to our body, to anybody's body. Because the truth is, everybody's gonna eventually, die, get sick and die, get old, get sick and die. And no one can stop it. Look at the past, look at the people in the past. People who came before us, famous or not famous, they all, in the end, succumb to aging, sickness, and death. And so shall we also. And so shall be our future generation. Everybody who is born in this world will be subjected to aging, sickness, and death. But the body is just a servant, someone who do the work for us. We still are addicted to sensual pleasures, so we need to have the body to satisfy our cravings. But once we develop another type of pleasure, the pleasure from calm, from the state of calm of the mind, then we won't need to use the sensual pleasure as a means of satisfying us. So then we can then not rely on the body. So when we don't rely on the body, then whatever happens to the body will not really matter to the mind. Okay, this is more or less the summation of Buddhist meditation practice, Dhamma practice, is to teach the mind the truth, that the mind is not the body, that the mind doesn't need the body if it has another type of happiness from meditation. Once you have happiness from meditation, then you don't need to have the body. Then when you don't depend on the body as a source of happiness, then it doesn't matter what happens to the body. Okay? All right. Cannot hear you, but I presume you understand, and I'll go on to the next person. All right, Forrest Tom, you're next from Boston, Massachusetts, USA.
Good morning. Good evening, Tona John. I don't have questions today, but I just wanted to mention I'm very grateful for Ajahn advice last week. So I'm following that. I set up a schedule for myself to imagine like I'm in a monastery. So I'm joining the monks of Wat Yannasangwararam for their puja and doing meditation and reducing my working hours a little bit. So far, I think it's helpful to improve my consistency of mindfulness.
Yes, you have to realize or understand that in order for you to advance, you have to practice more. That's all. Practice is the cause of our advancement or enlightenment, toward freedom from suffering. The more we practice mindfulness, meditation, samadhi, and develop more wisdom. The wisdom we have very little in terms of frequency. We know anicca, dukkha, anatta, but it's not ever present in our mind. So we want to make this to be ever present in our mind. Every time we see something, we see anicca, dukkha, anatta in that thing. Then we can then let go of our cravings for them. All right? Okay.
Thank you, Tona John.
Next, Sajal Ka from Silver Spring, Maryland.
Good morning, Thala John. Thank you for your teaching. I have no questions today. I'm trying to practice mindfulness and practice sitting meditation. Sitting meditations most of the time is very brief because the mind is too much engaged, but I'm actually trying. So that's all I have to say.
Yes, mindfulness is the key to your advancement. So try to be mindful from the time you get up to the time you go to sleep. Don't let your mind be untethered, always tied to something like a mantra or to the action of your body. Don't let it run into the past or into the future unnecessarily. You can think of the past or the future if you have to, but if you don't have to, try to keep it in the present and not thinking about anything, just merely knowing. Just focusing on something, one object, such as a mantra or the action of your body. Then when you have time to meditate, you can then sit down and focus on your breathing. Okay?
When I am focusing on breathing at the tip of the nose, the air enters the nose, air exits the nose, but also the air kind of goes down the chest and it fills up the stomach and stops.
Don't follow the air, just watch at the tip of the nose. You want to keep the mind still. If you follow the air, then the mind is still in action. You want to stop it acting. You want let it just stick in one point, stay in one point. You can choose. If you want to use the stomach, the chest, you can use that point as a point of focus of concentration, or you can use at the tip of the nose. But don't follow the breath in and out, because it will be, the mind is working. See, it has to follow, like walking, following the breath, walking in and walking out with the breath. You want to make the mind still, so you want to keep it at one point, at the entrance, at the exit point, which is the tip of the nose. Then your mind can become still that way. And you have to ignore everything that happens, that comes up in your meditation. All the side shows, just ignore them. They are all side shows. They're not important. Or that they are distractions that you give them attention. Then as soon as you pay attention to them, you're losing your concentration already. So try not to be distracted by anything. Like we're talking right now, if the phone rings, don't be distracted by the phone ring. Just keep on talking and forget about the phone. Okay.
That's all. Thank you, Ajahn.
All right. Next, Philip from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and Adeline.
Good evening, Ajahn.
Good evening, Ajahn.
You have any question? Ajahn, I got a question with regards to the meditation on the breath. Lately, when I'm meditating, using the breath to the extent of even to the point of focusing when the focus is actually at the tip of the nose, right? And even to the extent of actually letting go of the breath. There was at the end of the meditation, right? There was a certain search of a question that arises and said that who is actually breathing and what is actually breathing. So my question is that I ignored it until I finished the meditation. But after the meditation practice, I've been contemplating it for a while. My question is the breath part of the four foundation of mindfulness, the part of the Dhamma?
It's the meditation object for the development of samadhi, for jhana, for appana samadhi. You need kammatthana, and the breath is a kammatthana, the basis of action for the mind, to keep the mind engaged and not thinking about other things, so that the mind can become still and enter into jhana. You can call it, it's part of the body. You can call it, it's one of the four foundations of mindfulness. But I think the name, the foundation of mindfulness, can be a little bit misleading, because the foundation of mindfulness is to be mindful with, when you start anyway, with your body movement. When you sit in meditation, you use the breath as your foundation of mindfulness. But as far as feeling and the mind is concerned, it's more the foundation of wisdom. Actually, the body, the feeling, the mind, and the Dhamma are actually the foundation of wisdom. The foundation of mindfulness is really just the breath, the body movement, or the mantra. The 40 kammatthana actually are the foundation of mindfulness, because you use them to develop mindfulness. But besides mindfulness, you want to go up to wisdom, to vipassana. So to get vipassana, to get wisdom, you have to understand the nature of the body, the nature of feelings, and the nature of the mental states of mind. That they are all anicca, dukkha, anatta. And then they are not you, they're not part of you. It's just you just happen to come into contact with them. The mind, you are the mind, the one who knows. Just happen to come into contact with the body, with the feeling and the states of mind. And then with delusion, you cling to them. You thought they are you, they belong to you. You think your body is you, your feeling is you, your mental state is you, but they are not. They are just like the sun, the moon, the rain, and so forth, that you just happen to come into contact with. So you have to know how to treat them wisely in order not to be disturbed or be afflicted with suffering. If you know that they are not you, anatta, they are anatta, they are natural process, mental or physical phenomena. You are the mind, the one who knows, the one who thinks, who come in contact with them. So you have to know how to deal with them wisely to prevent your mind from being afflicted with pain, with mental pain, with suffering, with anxiety, worry, restlessness, and so forth. So these four objects are four foundation of wisdom.
Okay.
But anyway, this translated from the Pali Satipatthana Sutta. Sati means mindfulness. Patthana, development of sati. That's just the first part of the discourse, the sutta. So you don't let the title mislead you. Sometimes you see a movie and the title says this, but when you watch it, there's so many other things beside the title, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if you study the sutta, you will see it's just not about mindfulness. Mindfulness is just the starting point to go to samadhi, appana samadhi, to jhana. And then from jhana to go to wisdom. See? So that the mind can then be liberated from delusion that cause it to cling, to attach to these things and cause it suffering, pain. All right?
Yes.
Is this clear to you now?
Yes.
But for most of us, the sutta deals with we should just be concerned with just the development of mindfulness. When you sit, use anapanasati. When you're not sitting, you're moving around, watch the body. Use the body as your object of focus, of concentration. Keep watching what you do, what the body is doing. Until you get to jhana. Once you have jhana and have a lot of it, not just once, you want to develop it so that you have it almost all day long, all the time. In or out of samadhi, your mind still remains calm. Then your mind is ready for contemplation of wisdom. Study the nature of the body, being anicca, impermanent, not the same, keep changing from the day it was born to the day it dies. Every day the body gets older and older, gets older, but the process is slow, so you don't see the change quite obvious. But if you look at the photo 10 years ago and today, you can see the change quite drastically. So this is the adija of the body. Anatta, you cannot stop this process. It's not you also. The body is not you. There's no you in the body. There's no I in the body. The body is just made up of the 4 elements, made of the 32 parts. With the 4 elements as the building block. So you want to study and to teach your mind that your body is just like somebody else, like your body, like your wife's body. They're not you. So whatever happened to them, you're not worried, right? The people you don't know, what happens to them, you don't. The people in India right now, all of them dying, you're not disturbed by what happened to them, right? Because you see them as not you, have nothing to do with you. So you should look at your own body the same way as you look at the body of people in India right now. If you can do that, then you will not be disturbed by whatever happens to your body. Can you do that? That's wisdom, see. If you have strong jhana, then you can let go of your body. You can keep your mind not unreacting to whatever happens to your body. Whether it's painful, whether it's sick, or whatever happens to your body, your mind can remain calm and undisturbed if you have the jhana and you have the wisdom that tells you that the body is not you. Same way with feelings and also your states of mind. They're not you. They just come and go. They rise and cease. They keep changing from one thing to another all the time due to conditions. If you understand this and you can let go of all these objects, then your mind will remain calm and peaceful all the time. Not being disturbed by anything. Not disturbed by the body, not disturbed by the feeling, not disturbed by the emotional states of mind, the different emotions in your mind. You just know that they are just like the weather, they come and go. Sometimes it rains, sometimes it snows, sometimes it shines, sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's hot. Yeah. So this is what you want to develop the wisdom to see them as being as such. And they are not under your control, anatta. So the only thing you can do is just accept them for what they are and not reacting to them. If you have jhana and wisdom, the mind will just remain merely knowing whatever happens to the body, to the feeling, or to the states of mind. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Nothing from Adeline, huh?
Nothing, not this week.
Okay. And then we go to Anurag-ji. It's quite late for him now. It's about 2 o'clock.
No, just one pass.
1:30, 1:34.
Yeah, how are you, Ajahn?
Good.
Yeah.
And you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you, Ajahn. So just a comment, Ajahn. So this virtual meeting is really helpful to me in the presence of a teacher. So it gives a lot of energy for the week to modify meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that. Just a curiosity or question, Ajahn. So I understand that sankhara is caused by our defilement or klesha. So that means someone who attained Magapala, so the person won't have any sankhara. So that means how can he make choices? So does he have any choices?
No, sankhara is just sankhara never disappear, whether you have wisdom or delusion. Sankhara is like a tool, like an instrument. It's there, but the user changed. The user who is deluded become wise. So he used the sankhara differently, used the thought differently. Right now, sankhara is used by the delusion, by the deluded mind. And the deluded mind doesn't know right from wrong, good from bad. Doesn't know happiness from suffering. It's so deluded, it sees suffering as happiness.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't see the three characteristics in the things that it goes after.
Yeah.
It doesn't see suffering in the sensual objects. So it keeps going after the sensual objects.
Yeah.
And then we eventually get hurt by them when they change, when they disappear. But once you start to study the nature of the sensual objects, and you see that they are changing, they are never permanent.
Mhm.
Like today, you heard on the news of the richest man in the world has to divorce his wife. That's anicca, right?
Yeah.
Sensual object. But when they started having an affair, they don't think of that, right? They think of their love will be eternal forever.
Yeah.
Until death do us part, right? That's what they do when you get married, right?
Yeah.
Until death do us part. But nowadays, maybe 6 months and do us part.
Yeah.
So this is what the problem with everybody's mind. See? They are all deluded, and they use sankhara to go after suffering.
Mhm.
But with the enlightened man, enlightened person, he sees that the sensual objects are dukkha,
Yeah.
because they are anicca and anatta. So they start using the sankhara to go after these things.
Okay.
So sankhara is still there. So the nama-khandas, they are tools that can be used by either an enlightened person or a deluded person, like an automobile. It can be driven by a drunken man, a drunken person, or not a drunken person. And the difference is there to see, right? When an automobile is driven by a drunken person, what happens? Accident. But when it's driven by a non-drunken person, then there's no accident.
Yeah.
So you have to understand sankhara is still there. Avijja conditioned sankhara will change. Once you have Dhamma or wisdom, then wisdom will be the conditioned sankhara. Wisdom will be the one who drives sankhara, who tells sankhara what to do. The Buddha, after his enlightenment, he still used sankhara. But he used sankhara to teach the Dhamma to you, to us.
Yeah.
So all his talk are always Dhamma. He doesn't talk about how to get rich, how to have happiness from having a husband or wife, or have happiness going on holidays and anything. They don't talk, enlightened people don't talk about these things. Because they know they are all suffering, they are dukkha. See? They only talk about charity, talking about keeping the precept, talking about meditation. Because these are the things that will bring happiness, true happiness, without any suffering.
Yeah.
So you have to understand sankhara still remain with the mind. Sankhara, the four nama-khandas. Sankhara, sanya, vedana, and vijnana. But they are under the control of an enlightened person. So they don't create any dukkha for the mind.
Right. Okay.
So that's why we want to get rid of avijja. Avijja is ignorant of the truth of the three characteristics and the four noble truths.
Yes.
So we want to teach the mind this, but the deluded mind will not accept this truth by just teaching or by just hearing.
Yeah.
You need to first stop the defilement from rejecting, by calming the mind to jhana first.
Yeah.
When the mind becomes calm and peaceful, then there is no, the defilement is there, but it's weakened by the strength of the mindfulness. So it doesn't have the strength to reject the truth. so you can contemplate on the truth and see things clearly.
Yeah.
Every time you want to go for something, wisdom will come and tell you, you sure you want to take this thing? It's anicca, it's anatta, it's dukkha.
Right.
See, when you have this advisor to always remind you of the truth, then you will stop going after them. Then you won't have any suffering. Like after you get married, you're happy, right? But later on, you get a divorce, and what happened? I can imagine what's going on in the mind of the richest man in the world right now.
Yeah.
You think suffering or happiness is happening in his mind.
Yeah, true.
That's because he didn't see anicca when he decided to take up a partner, right?
Yeah.
That's because the craving for sensual pleasure is too strong to resist.
Mhm.
It's like an addiction, stronger than drugs.
Yeah, true.
Sex is stronger than drugs.
Yeah, true.
People can live without drugs, but they cannot live without sex.
Yeah, true.
Okay?
Yeah, okay. So that means our sensual desires are our own Mara. Is it right?
It's our own weakness that we have to develop the mind with mindfulness to make it strong, so it can resist this craving for sexual pleasure, for sexual or sensual pleasures.
Yeah, true.
Once you have jhana, you can stop it temporarily. But if you want to stop it permanently, you have to use a super contemplation.
Yeah.
Everything you look for a partner, when you see the super in your partner, then you say, oh no, you don't want to have that partner, that person to be your partner.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So, thank you.
Next, Kek Yen So from Penang. Any question today?
Good evening. No questions, Ajahn.
Okay, good to see you every time, every week almost.
Thank you.
You are a studious student, faithful student.
Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, next is Yin from Malaysia. Yin. Oh no, from America, right?
From Malaysia,
From
KL.
Malaysia.
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, Ajahn. I have a question. I'm trying to meditate every day, but there were days like, I have reasons for not meditating. So I would like to ask Ajahn how to keep up the momentum. And I used to be able to meditate for 1 hour, but now half an hour, I'm like, okay, it's time, to get up. So it's quite, maybe I get some advice from you.
That's because your mindfulness is not strong enough. So before you meditate, you have to keep training yourself in mindfulness. You can do this when you're not meditating. Just reciting a mantra when you don't have to think. Keep watching what your body is doing at the moment to stop your mind from thinking and force it to focus on something like the body or on the mantra. Then you have stronger mindfulness when you meditate. So when you sit, you can sit longer. It's like filling up the tank for your car. See? The more you fill the tank up, then when you drive, you can drive longer, right? Further.
Okay.
Mindfulness is like the tank for the gasoline for your mind, for your meditation. Okay. The more mindfulness you have, then the longer you can meditate.
And Ajahn, when you say watch the body, maybe you can explain something about that. What do you mean by watching the body? It's like watching what my body is doing, is it?
That's right, what your body is doing. Eating, just watch it. Don't let your mind go someplace else. Just keep watching every movement of your body.
Okay.
Taking a shower, combing your hair, getting dressed. walking, sitting, standing, anything that the body is doing, you just keep watching it.
So it's like watching another person, is it?
Yes, right. Treat your body like a prisoner. You are the God. You don't want to let it slip away from your presence, your attention.
Okay. Okay.
Then your mind cannot go other places, right? But normally you do two things at the same time. You eat and then you think about what you're gonna do next thing.
Okay.
You don't want to do this. You want to keep it with the body.
Okay. So even when like a thought comes in, I don't entertain the thought. You know, could be planning or thinking of like what to do after dinner, let's say.
If you have to do, then you have to stop doing what you're doing with your body and just do it, and then focus on your thinking. Use your thinking as your object of your focus. Do one thing at a time.
I see. Okay.
Ask yourself what you want to do, eat or you want to plan. If you want to plan, stop eating and do planning.
I see. Okay. So it's like an anchor, is it, Ajahn? To anchor my attention?
That's right. That's right. You want to anchor your mind. You don't want to let your mind drift into the past, into the future, into anything. Like your mind is like a boat. In order for your boat to be still, you have to anchor the boat, right?
I see. Okay.
Without the anchor, the boat will then drift with the stream.
Okay.
Your mind has a stream. Your thoughts are like stream in your mind, and you keep drifting with your thoughts.
Okay.
From the time you get up to the time you go to sleep, you just follow your thought.
Okay.
So your mind is never still, never focused.
I see.
So when you meditate, you cannot meditate for long.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like there's a chest pain, you know. I don't know whether it's real or what. It's like, then I start to give a reason like, okay, it's time to stop.
Your defilement will magnify everything to cause you to stop your meditation.
Okay.
But when your concentration is strong, then you can ignore everything that can distract you, that try to distract you.
Okay.
So try to train yourself in mindfulness.
Okay.
Then you'll find that your practice of meditation practice can move forward very quickly, very easily.
Okay. Thank you, Tanajan.
Okay, you're welcome.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Next, Kafai Lim from Malaysia also.
Good day to you, Ajahn. Yes, from Kuala Lumpur. No particular questions today, just to update the progress of meditation practice. Only by focusing on the breathing at the tip of the nose and nothing else. Yes, indeed, the mind can get into calmness easily and sustain for a longer time. And really thank you for the advice, Ajahn.
Okay, good. Thank you for the report. It will encourage other people to do the same.
Yeah,
it's effective.
Yes.
Okay. Next, Lillian from Bangkok.
Good evening, Tanajan. I don't have any questions, but maybe just want to comment. Since I attended Ajah's talk and the three most important thing, which is Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta, I think it really helped me a lot. Because my husband works with his family business, so now and then there will be conflicts and there will be changes, basically, and the changes can be quite big sometimes, and it will affect me quite badly normally because financially or emotionally, it actually affects me more than it affects my husband because I'm alone here and don't have any family members here. But I think after meditating, it really helped a lot in how I react to the situation. And I think when you don't react, things actually become better naturally. Just let it go. And I don't know, things just become okay after a while when you don't react to it. That's what I found as well.
Yeah, better leave things alone. When you cannot do it better, make it better, leave them alone.
Yes, there's no point going against the flow anyway, but the meditation really helped me a lot as well.
Yeah, it makes your life better, makes your life less stressful. Yes. Normally you want to keep fighting for your defilement, really. That's what you're fighting for.
Yes, correct.
your cravings, your desire.
Yes.
But you understand the nature of things, that they are anatta.
Yes.
They're sometimes beyond your control.
Yeah, I think it's really beyond our control, and sometimes things happen for a reason as well. Like it could be a blessing.
There's always everything. There's always a silver lining somewhere.
Yes, correct. Yep. So I'm just happy that I'm always meditating, and I have to thank COVID as well that I started this meditation.
Yeah, good. This way will make you appreciate staying at home. That you can do a lot more than going outside. Before you thought you achieved more going outside, but really, for your mind, staying at home really benefits you more than going outside.
Yes.
When you go out, you benefit your defilement more.
Right. Actually, during COVID, when we couldn't go out, I actually sometimes I take turns with my husband to meditate. Like we do a mini retreat at home. So I think that's quite nice as well. So it's quite a good thing for us to do to keep our mind at peace.
Okay, good. Nice to hear from you. I think everybody appreciate your input.
Okay,
all right. Thank you. Next, Alvin Lee from Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur.
Good evening, Ajahn. I don't have any question, but I just want to thank you for all your guidance and teaching. I think it has been 1 year, Ajahn, since I joined your Zoom class on the 1st May last year, 2000. So it's a long time now, 1 year.
It's already 1 year, very quickly.
Yeah,
I didn't realize it.
1st of May, I think, I was just surfing on my Facebook, suddenly I saw you and I didn't realize, I didn't know, I wasn't sure whether it was live or it was just recording at that time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Good. All right, you're welcome. Keep up your practice. Don't give up. Okay, don't stop. You have come a long way now. So never give up. You should come to the point of no return. Never return to the old way of life that you used to.
Yeah, sometimes I still get a bit lazy and don't put in that much effort.
Yeah. Just look at the comparison before and after. Then this will encourage you to do more. Before you start Dhamma practice and now after you have done Dhamma practice, look at your states of mind. Are they better or are they worse than before?
My meditation practice has definitely improved. I've tried many methods, following my breath, from the tip of the nose to my down to my stomach, and before that I also practice when looking at the tip, and then when I listen, I just take note listening. When I hear voice, I just take note listening. When I feel something, I just take note feeling something. But now I feel that by just looking at one point, I feel a lot more focused. I can achieve
more stable, more secure.
More stable. Yes, I've tried many ways.
Yeah.
Thanks,
That's the strong point of mine, is to stay just in one point, not reacting to anything.
Yes, a
lot more. Thank you. All right. Okay, then let me go to Gary from Singapore also. Gary?
Good evening, Ajahn. Can you hear me?
Yes. You can speak louder though.
Okay, Ajahn, is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay, there's no questions for me tonight. Just I would like to thank Ajahn for all the Dhamma teaching.
Okay. Well, then let me go to the next person, Alfredo from Brazil. Alfredo, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Thanks.
Okay. You still live alone?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You don't find a partner for you? You're not lonely?
What?
You're not lonely being alone? Don't you want a partner? Don't you want to find a partner?
No, my brothers have family, have daughters, have sons.
Mhm.
I not have contact more. It's good for me.
You're happy to be alone.
Yes, not problem. At night I be dancing, and I like to exercise. Né? Now the academy has open again, né? And okay, the life, the meditation life is very good life. It's okay for me.
Okay, you have any question today?
Don't know what question is important, Bante.
No question is the best. To have no question is the best. It means you already know, so you don't need to ask anything.
Yes, thanks.
Okay, know how to make yourself happy. That's all we want to know, is how to make us happy and never sad.
Yes.
Okay, if you're not sad, then you have no problem.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Let me say hello to Sui and Czech from Vancouver, or near Vancouver.
Ajahn.
Hello, Ajahn.
Good to see you both.
Yeah, good to see you.
Ajahn.
Working today, huh?
Yes, Ajahn.
It's morning now, right? It's about what? 6 o'clock? Almost 7 o'clock?
Yes, almost 7 o'clock.
So you have to start working pretty soon.
We are we don't have a fixed time. It's freelance.
I see. Good.
So, yeah.
You can choose the time to go to work.
Yeah, we choose the time. Yeah.
Okay.
Ajahn,
Any comment? Any question?
I heard from one of your talk, somebody asked you about Toraman. It's a Thai word, I think.
Yeah, Dhamma means torture. To torture your mind, torture your defilement.
You say it's disciplining the mind. Is it
Yes.
only for monks or like?
For anybody who wants to gain enlightenment, you have to torture, discipline your defilement, your mind. The monkey, you have to torture your monkey, discipline the monkey in your mind, to calm it down, to make it obedient to your command.
So it literally means torture?
Yeah, if it's stubborn, then you should stop eating once and don't let it eat for a few days. Then after you fast for a few days, it becomes more obedient to your command. So the word Toraman means, to torture or to feel torturous, to have feeling
so like fasting.
Tormenting, like tormenting. To have a feeling of torment is Toraman.
Well, it's a good torture, right?
Well, when you translate into English, you use discipline. Right? You have to discipline your mind.
Yeah. So you mentioned fasting.
Fasting force you to do like walking for many hours or sitting. This to torture your mind. See, your craving, your desire.
That's how you tame the mind.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
If you keep following your craving, you can never stop it. See? The only way is to resist your craving. And that's a breaking point between the craving and your disciplining. Whoever wins, then if the disciplining wins, then the mind becomes calm and obedient. If the discipline loses, then the craving still takes center stage. It still dictates you what to do. Go after a hamburger, go to see a movie, go here and go there. all the time. But you say, no, let's sit here until you no longer have any desire, then I'll get up. Eventually, if you resist long enough, your desire will give up. You will stop demanding that you take it to here and there. Then you can remain in a place without feeling bored or being any restless or agitated. You will remain calm and peaceful to a level, not the deepest level, but to the normal level. You will find that you now don't have to go to see this or go to hear that or to see that person or anything like that anymore. You can discipline this urge to do things without any reason, just wanting to do things, just to make you feel happy, make you feel good, or to get rid of your boredom. The way to get rid of your boredom is to sit still and let the boredom dissipate by itself. Let it run out of steam. When it run out of steam, it means when the boredom disappears, it means the desire to do things disappear. When there's no desire to do things, then boredom will disappear. That's why we have to stay in place, stay put in a place and not go out to places. Like in a monastery or when you go to a resort, a meditation resort, you want to put your mind in one place, not to go after the sensual objects. Because if you go after them, you're never fully satisfied. You'll be satisfied briefly and then you want more and you have to get more. And then you'll be satisfied briefly and then you want more again. It's never ending. It's like taking drugs. You have to stop taking it. That's it. Once you can stop taking the drugs and the craving for drugs disappear, then you won't need to take drugs anymore. Everything's like that. Every form of desire or urge or want or craving, you have to stop it. Resist, you have to resist. Not do what it tells you to do. But it's gonna put up a lot of fight, causing a lot of bad feeling inside your mind. So you have to persevere, you have to be able to resist until it gives up. When it gives up, then the mind becomes peaceful, calm. Okay.
And you talked about the comparison just now. That's very helpful, like because just compare with before knowing Ajahn and then after is a very big difference. Like a lot happier in the mind.
Not knowing me, but practicing, I think. Not by knowing me itself doesn't make any change. It's your practice that change you, not me. I'm just an instructor, that's all. But
Dhamma you taught us, Ajahn. The Dhamma you taught us.
So you shouldn't think of me, you should think of your practice.
Yes, Ajahn.
Before practice and after practice.
Right.
Because without me, then you can still use the practice. You don't have to depend on me. You depend on your practice. Because I'll be gone one day, right?
Right.
Okay.
You're right. Thank you for the reminder. Because
I'm just a messenger. Keep the message. Keep the letters.
I can't say I'm 100% not attached. I'm attached, but
don't be attached to the mailman. He just come and deliver the letters to you.
It's hard. I'll try.
The mailman just happened to be a nice man. He just say hello to you and bring you good news. But what you want is the good news, right? The Dhamma is the good news. Yeah.
But the messenger is very special, so it's hard to.
But there always be a new messenger. Yeah. There will always be a new man. Yeah. From the time of the Buddha enlightenment to now, we have different mailmen coming and deliver us the letter, the good news.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Ajahn, I just have one quick question. Like when we are aware of our body or like our breath, at that instant, like, are we using our sankhara?
No, you're using mindfulness. You're stopping sankhara. You stop it from thinking. You're using the mindfulness to focus, just to use your knowing, not the thinking part. Your mindfulness stop your thinking and force your mind just to be merely knowing.
Okay.
Right? You're not thinking when you're watching your breath. You're knowing your breath.
Yeah.
And you don't have to think about your breath. Just know the breath for what it is.
Oh, okay. Yes.
You don't think about somebody else, but you do think because your mindfulness is not strong enough when you start. You watch your breath for a few seconds and you start thinking, what am I going to do next? What's today? Or so forth, right? Your mind keep going back to your thinking. So you have to bring it back to your breath. And you can do this more efficiently if you do it before you meditate. You have to do it from the time you get up. As soon as you get up, watch your body. Where is my body now? What it is doing now? Oh, it's lying down on bed. Okay. Now it's getting up. Now it's standing. Now it's walking to the toilet, to the bathroom, to wash, to do whatever. Just keep watching. Don't think about what's today, who am I going to meet, what I'm going to do, and so forth. Unless you have to, then you have to think. But think only sparingly. Think only when you really have to, need to. Don't use your thought recklessly or profusely, let's put it that way. Use it only when you really need to. Think of your thought as being electricity. You don't want to use it only when you have to, right? You don't turn on the lights when you don't need to. So don't say when you don't need to.
Okay.
Cut down the thinking bill.
Yeah, save some money. Okay.
Because your thinking bill is emotional upheaval. The more you think, the more your mind become emotionally charged.
Yeah. Emotionally, yeah.
What? Oh.
You more react, right? The more we think, then the
And
mind.
you get emotional, so like and dislike, hate and so forth. So when you don't think, then this emotion don't arise. Your thought is the one that generates your emotion.
So we use mindfulness, yeah, to cut it off. Yeah.
Mindfulness just to watch.
Watch it, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you.
All right. Next, Bruce Lee or Rusli. Hi, where are you from?
Good evening, Ajahn. Very nice to see you. Is my voice clear?
Yes, where are you from?
I'm from Indonesia, Ajahn.
Oh,
This
Indonesia.
is the first time I joined this Zoom meeting. I came to the temple many years ago before. Thank you very much, Ajahn.
Okay, you have any question?
No question. Thank you very much, Ajahn.
Okay. All right, nice to see you. Next, Kyuyan Dong from London.
Hello, Tanachan. I have no questions.
All right, no comment. You wanted to say anything?
Well, we've been talking a lot about nimittas and and the staying with the breath and so on. And I had a thought, although the breath seems to be so worldly, staying with the breath, I felt like staying with the Dhamma. Like the longer I stay with the breath, the longer I stay with actually the Dhamma, not like any nimitta or any white cotton ball or any like a change in the feeling in when I meditate, like feeling of the space or something. But staying with the breath is actually, I felt like it's like staying with the Dhamma itself. It's, although it's like it's not a high Dhamma or whatever, but it's,
yes, it's you staying with the you are staying with the peace of mind. See, the Dhamma is peace, peace of mind. So when you focus, then your mind becomes still, become calm, and not restless or agitated.
right. And even for any nimitta or even like a change in the feeling, it's when you don't have to like be very focused and enter into it, but you just try to, like, if you just change change something and you just like direct your thought or have a bit of question about it or just give it a bit of attention, then it's already similar to like entering into it, or like go so far away from your breath.
Well, you shouldn't go away from your breath. You should ignore all the other things that appear when you meditate. If you want to calm your mind, still your mind, you need to stick with the breath.
Yeah.
Okay.
Try to remind myself. Yeah.
Okay. There are lots of sideshows that will distract your mind from concentrating. So you don't want to be distracted by them. Come back to your concentration, come back to your breath.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Belinda from Singapore. Hello. Greetings.
Today is the Uposatha day.
Yes, that's right. You're keeping the 8 precepts?
I kept the precepts on Sunday in advance.
Good. So today you have to work, so you cannot keep the 8 precepts. So you keep the 5 precepts instead.
Yes.
Okay. That's what Buddhists should do, either 5 or 8. They should not be without the precepts. On working days, keep the 5 precepts. On your day off, if you can, keep the 8 precepts. And practice meditation. Not just keeping the 8 precepts alone. The 8 precepts should go with the practice of meditation practice. They should go together. Because the 8 precepts will support your meditation practice.
Ajahn, I have a question about, because generally in Singapore, we stay in quite high-rise building, at least 10th floor, 12th floor. So we are in a high-rise building. I understand the body, the mind is separate, but for practice, is it better to stay nearer to the ground? Maybe.
No, it doesn't matter as far as the physical location is concerned. Doesn't matter. What is concerning is whether it's quiet or not quiet. That's what you should be more concerned with, the surroundings of your physical space. It doesn't matter whether it's high or low or underground. In some cases, if you have to live underground, it doesn't matter. What matters is the noise around you, whether it's noisy or whether it's quiet. You need a quiet place to develop Dhamma.
How about the Wi-Fi and all, or if you're near electronics, does it matter?
I don't know the effect on the body. It doesn't much affect the mind. but it might affect the body. I don't know. Okay, don't worry about them too much. Just worry about the noise, the distraction that can come and disturb your concentration, disturb the peace of mind. The goal is to keep the mind peaceful and happy without having to have anything to make it peaceful or happy outside. It relies on what it has inside itself to make it peaceful and happy, which is mindfulness and wisdom. Okay. All right. I think Claudia, you already have your turn. You want to talk some more? You happen to be next on the board. Claudia. Okay. Can you unmute your microphone? All right, you can speak now.
No, so far everything is fine. Still no
Okay.
questions. Thank you.
You just somehow you just move your position from on top and come back down here. So I thought you might want to ask any question.
No,
Okay.
thank you. Everything is fine. Thank you.
Okay, now then let me go to Phoebe. Hello, Phoebe.
Hello,
From Toronto. Morning for you, huh?
Yes.
10 o'clock.
I think so. Yes. Very good. I just want to ask, can you talk a little bit more about, you were answering Sween Chek's question earlier about tormenting the monkey mind and disciplining it. So does that mean that we're, throughout our day, we are using, like, we're switching back and forth between mindfulness and wisdom to motivate us? Because so usually what motivates me to practice is because I want to be happy, right? Because I feel happier when the mind is calmer. So I don't want to think, right? And that makes me happy. But I guess when we are trying to use discipline, that is that maybe doesn't make us happy, but we do it anyway. And so does that mean we're not, that we're using wisdom at that time? Like, yeah, I just wanted to ask. Does that make sense?
Well, see, the mind is something that sometimes you can use friendly persuasion. If you can use wisdom to persuade it, then you use wisdom. But if it doesn't, if you cannot persuade your mind with wisdom, then you just have to discipline it. You have to sort of fight with it. Let's put it away. Don't let it do what it should not be doing, which means going after any sensual objects, for instance. So you have to discipline it by isolating yourself from the sensual objects, like staying inside the house, not going outside for any pleasure, for instance, or go stay in a monastery. This is disciplining the mind, not allowing to go after the desire for sensual objects. But if you can use wisdom and teach the mind that the sensual object is bad for you, then you don't need to restrain it, because if it understands and then it stay put, it doesn't go out of the house, then there's no need to restrain it. But if you teach it that going out is bad for it and it still insists to go out, then you have to stop it by forcing it to stay, by not allowing it to go, by maybe force it to sit or do walking meditation or sit in meditation for us. And this is disciplining the mind. Understand?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it just seems so it seems so. Why is it that the mind is so strong? I mean, it's not our real mind, right? It's kilesa. So how come it's so strong? And because if the mind essentially is the natural state is to be free of fetters.
Right now the mind is sick. The mind is like a drug addict. See? So you want to help cure it, to get it out of addiction. So right now the mind is addicted to the sensual objects. So you want to use Dhamma practice to help free the mind from this addiction. Once the mind is free from addiction, then the mind will be pure and natural, and will not generate any suffering, any bad feelings, any sadness or loneliness. So keep practicing the Dhamma practice, mindfulness, samadhi, and wisdom. On the lower level, use charity. Every time you want to buy a new dress, if you don't need it, then give the money to charity instead. It will make you feel better than getting a new dress. When you have plenty of dress to wear already, but your defilement still wants, oh, this dress is nice. It will make me look nice, make me happy. Yes, you can be happy for a few days when you buy that dress, but after that it will disappear. But if you give it to charity, you feel happier even months after you have given it to charity. Every time you think of the charity you did, you will still feel good. This is also restraining the mind or disciplining the mind, the defilement. Same way with keeping the precept, like taking alcohol, for instance. When you keep the precept, then you say, "Oh, I cannot drink any alcohol." It's restraining your desire to drink. Sometimes people use alcohol as an escape from their suffering. When they feel bad, they take the drinks to make them feel better, but they only feel better briefly. Then the bad feeling will come back again the next day. All right.
Sorry, one little question about the precepts, actually, about the fifth precept about the not taking alcohol. What about smoking cigarettes? Is that considered like?
No, cigarette doesn't make your mind fussy. You still doesn't affect your mind. You avoid taking things that affect your mind, your mindfulness. When when you drink, you lose your mindfulness. You cannot focus or force yourself to do things properly or correctly. So anything like that should be considered a no-no, prohibited in the fifth precept. But smoking cigarette doesn't cause your mind to be fussy or not controllable. No change, no difference. So it's allowed. It's not prohibited to smoke.
But it's still a desire, right? Like a habit. I mean, for food,
it depends. Some people can smoke without being a habit. And they smoke only when there's a need to. Maybe someone offer them a cigarette and just to accept it, just to make to keep the social relationship or whatever. But when they're alone, then they don't smoke. Then this is not a habit.
Oh, I see. Thank you. Yeah.
Some people can have it or not having it. Then this is not considered a habit. But if you have to have it, then this is the habit. That's why some people question Ajahn, because Ajahn, even after his enlightenment, he still smokes cigarettes. He smokes about 3 or 4 times a day. Usually once after he had his meal, and in the afternoon when he has his tea or his refreshment, then he smokes a cigarette. But he never asked people to go buy when the cigarette run out. He only smoke when he's given the cigarette. When there's no cigarette, then he just don't think about it. But people don't understand. They think, oh, this is how can an enlightened person still smoke cigarettes?
Thank you. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Next, Evi from Indonesia. Good evening to you.
Can Ajahn hear me?
Yes.
Ajahn, I have a question. How to get rid of this kepo, Ajahn? Kepo is abbreviation from knowing every particular object.
Can you speak clearly? Your sound is a little bit fuzzy. Can you speak again?
Can you hear me, Ajahn?
Yeah, okay.
Is
Speak
it
louder.
clear now?
Yeah, okay.
How to get rid of this kepo, Ajahn? Kepo is abbreviation from knowing every particular object.
Get rid of what?
Kepo.
People?
Yes.
People?
Kepo is just
How do you spell it?
knowing every particular object. Want to know this, want to know that. Curious.
Curiosity?
Curiosity, yeah.
Okay.
Because I think I am kepo too much outside. The more I involve outside, communicating outside, which call is sending attention externally, and it only triggers more unnecessary consequences from me, because it makes me entangle more and hide myself down without having a chance to look at my own problems or facing. The symptoms show my mind's uncertainty creates a no confidence. Can kepo affect to our meditation, Ajahn? How should I act so that this kepo action doesn't happen again?
Well, you need more mindfulness. Just practice more mindfulness to stop you from thinking. When you don't think, then just recite a mantra, Butto, 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 rather than think about this and that. Just keep reciting Butto, Butto, Butto.
Like example, if someone talking to me, I must respond to these people.
Okay, then you respond. I'm talking about when you're alone. When you don't have to think, then don't let the mind think. Keep reciting Butto, Butto instead. But when you engage with people, or when you have to use your thought to do some work, then you have to use them. When I mean is when you don't have to think and you keep thinking, then you use Butto, Butto to stop it. Like when you're alone, when you're getting up in the morning, try to use Butto from the time you open up your eyes, while you prepare yourself for the day, taking a shower, brushing your teeth, combing your hair, getting dressed. Just keep reciting Butto, Butto.
But if I reciting Butto, Butto, Butto so many times, I can be like a little headache.
No, I don't think so. If it's headache, it's because your defilement is generating the headache. So you have to bear with the headache. It's just a delusional headache. It's not illusion headache. It's not real headache. Or else you will not be able to control your thought and your curiosity.
And what happens if I practice Butto, 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 Butto in my daily life, and is affected to my meditation?
It will make your meditation easier and better. You can sit longer and become calm quickly with mindfulness.
Okay, Ajahn.
It's very beneficial if you can recite the mantra, yes. Butto, Butto, Butto.
Or see the body?
Don't see anything, just keep mantra only. Right now, don't have to do anything, just recite the mantra. Just do one thing right now. It's like learning the alphabet. When you start learning how to read and write, before you can read and write, you have to recite the alphabet A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N first. Okay. So you recite the Bhutto until you can control your thoughts. You can stop your thinking anytime. When you start to think uselessly or aimlessly, then you use Bhutto, Bhutto, Bhutto to stop them. Okay. All right. Next, Vince from Singapore. Vince Chua.
Hi, Ajahn. I have a question today. Okay. The heart knows. The heart can feel mindfully, and can I use satisfaction as a reference point? And if it's not, you mindfully knows your mind, knows your feelings. If it's like, is it meaningful? If once go and check out the feelings of disappointment is worse than anger. So anger is worse, then disappointment is a better state, and maybe irritated is better state than that. So I use satisfaction as a reference point. Does it make sense if we mindfully go and check our dominant thoughts and modify that state of mind from disappointment to irritation and back to satisfaction, where is the reference point?
The reference point should be where there are no thoughts, when the mind becomes calm and peaceful. That's where you want to get to. That's the reference point, which is jhana. Jhana is your reference point. Right. When the mind stops thinking, then all the emotion will disappear. No disappointment, no anger, nothing. So if you want to calibrate your mind, you want to get to that point. That's why the Buddha teaches us to meditate, to get to jhana, to get to the point where the mind becomes neutral. Like if you have a way, what you call a machine that weighs something, you have to calibrate to be at zero, right? Not +1 or -1, to get the true weight of the thing that you weigh. The same way with the mind. The mind has to get to the point where it is natural, where it is being itself, not under any influence. That's in jhana. And this is the point where the mind is most happy, most satisfied, most content.
Right. The reason why I use the satisfaction is because sometimes I find the thoughts are too stubborn. It keeps coming back.
The word satisfaction is just not the real satisfaction.
Oh, okay.
You just use the imaginary satisfaction. The real satisfaction is in the jhana.
I understand. Yeah, I understand. I can go back to the calm.
Yeah, go to jhana, then you get the real satisfaction.
Okay, understand.
Okay.
Thank you, Ajahn.
All right, you're welcome. Constance from Singapore.
Good evening, Ajahn. Today I'm just listening, no question.
Okay, nice to see you.
Thank you
for joining the room.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, Sam Wotomo from Singapore or from Indonesia?
Oh no, I live in Melbourne.
Melbourne. Okay.
Yeah, I joined last week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any
nice
question?
To see you again. Yeah. I actually last week, you advised us about meditation, and then you mentioned about the pine. My question is actually, so when I meditate, and so my question is actually after reaching peacefulness, and then sometimes the calmness drop down, and then I start to feel the pain, particularly on my foot again. Now, I usually facing with two ways. One way is actually I just go back to the reciting Buddha, and I go back to the peacefulness again, and then the calm disappeared. But then after I listening to your talk last week, I try other way. which is I feel the pain, so painful, so painful. I will start sweating, but I restrain myself not to go back to the Buddha or something, but I just know that this is the pain. And then I just feeling, oh yeah, that's a pain is one thing, but I want to run away from the pain is another thing. So, and if I keep doing, actually I can see this one pain and this one is myself want to run away from the pain, and I just watching, oh, is it separate? And everything like a freezing. And then the alarm beeping is finished. So I just want to get your advice. Is that the correct way to do, or I should go back straight away to the Buddha when the peacefulness drop?
When your mind start to react to something, then you should go back to mindfulness, go to mantra, and don't react.
Yeah.
Just leave everything alone. Don't react to anything. When you start to react, then you use the mantra to stop it from reacting.
Yeah, sure. So then actually, when we get more like the concentration again, peaceful, what is next again?
Just try to make it peaceful as long as possible. There's nothing to do in meditation, but just to keep it peaceful and not reacting and happy.
Sure. Yeah.
The next level, if you want to move up, the next level that's after when you come out of your meditation. Then you want to teach your mind to stop reacting to everything. Then you come into contact with reacting to people's action, to your money, to anything that you are involved with. Try to see if you can not react to them emotionally, like being like or dislike toward them. Just to be really knowing them. Yeah. Anything in daily life. Anything that you come into contact with. See if you can just deal with them unemotionally.
Sure. So that's the getting mindful, getting the peacefulness during meditation, and
to help you to deal with things in your life when you.
It helps.
Right. Instead of reacting to everything, you just merely know and only deal with them rationally if you have to deal with anything.
Yeah. How to get the understanding, Ajahn, if we rely on this peacefulness, I'm peaceful, I'm okay, my mind is calm. But when I stop meditating and I go back to like working again and interacting with people, and many of the people actually, they don't even observe sila.
That's why you have to use wisdom to teach your mind that they are different. They are like the weather. Some like rain, some like snow, some are snow, some are rain. So you just have to take them for what they are. You don't want to try to change them. If they don't have sila, that's what they are. If they have sila, that's what they are.
What if that people it's actually our family member?
It doesn't matter who. They are natural phenomena. The relationship is only temporary. It's only lasts when we live. After we die, this relationship will disappear. So this relationship is not important more than what they really are. If they are good, they are good. If they are bad, they are bad, regardless of the relationship.
We don't try to change, to give advice.
If they need your help for change, you can help them. If they don't need your help, then you cannot change them.
I see. I understand what you mean, Ajahn. I understand. Thank you.
If they are under your tutelage, if they are under your supervision, then you can teach them. Like your children, you can teach them. But if they are not under your supervision and they don't expect any supervision from you, then don't do it.
Yeah, understand. I agree. Thank you, Ajahn. Thank you.
Okay. And if you feel frustrated, then you should stop and go back to meditate. It means you have lost your calm. and you need to regenerate your calm again in order to deal with things in a calmly manner.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you, Ajahn.
All right. Now, who's next? I think everybody has the chance to ask questions. So this is the first round. So maybe I should go to Facebook now. Do we have any questions from Facebook today?
Yes, we have 5 questions from Facebook. First question from Augustine Folio. Hello, dear Ajahn. My question today, when I practice the 5 precepts, the most difficult for me is the 4th precept, not about not lying, but about not speaking negatively about other people or spreading gossip. Why is this happening to me, and how can I better uphold this precept? Thank you.
It's because of your habits. Whatever you used to do, then you like to do it. If you like to gossip, then this is your habit. Every time you talk, you want to gossip. So what can you do? You have to maybe use something to keep your mouth shut when you don't have to say anything. Get some plaster or something to plaster your mouth. Or else you can use mindfulness. You can use the mantra. Every time you want to gossip, just recite Bhutto, 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 Bhutto. So you have to be mindful of your speech. As soon as you begin to talk, you have to know what you are about to talk. Whether you talk about good thing or bad thing, or gossiping or not gossiping, for instance. If you are about to gossip, then you should use mindfulness to stop it. Recite Bhutto, Bhutto, Bhutto instead. Or if you want to gossip, why don't you gossip about yourself rather than gossip about other people?
Next, there are 2 questions from Aini Lam. First question is, are all the good, bad karma in thought, speech, and actions committed in the past and present predestined to ripen at certain moments in life, which is why some can have premonitions or deja vus before it happens?
Yes, whatever you did, they are all karmas, whether through speech, mind, through speech, to action or thoughts. And then they will one day, sometime in the future, give you the consequence. I'm not sure about premonition. Premonition is something that you might have done something in the past, being someplace in the past, and that might, when you come to a place which is similar to what you have been there before, you might feel that you might have been there before. But this is not important. Deja vu or anything like this is not important to our practice of maintaining peacefulness of mind.
And second question from Aini Lam. Some 8 years ago, during a very stressful period, I learned meditation from various teachers by listening to CDs. And that's when I entered the empty room, being fully aware of impermanent. Coming out of it, I see another person in the mirror ever since, but there is strong desire to pursue a monastic way of life and leave everything else behind. Is there a right time to do so, and or after worldly duties?
Well, the right time is now. There's no other time. There's no future, there's no past. If you keep on saying the future, then the future will be away from you. It will always be in the future. So any action should be done now. If you want to do anything, you have to do it now. Because now is the only time that you can do it, not the future, not in the past. But whether depending on which now that you have to decide, this now today or this now tomorrow. So it depends on what condition yourself is in, whether you can do it or not. That's the point. But to do it, you have to do it now. Don't deceive yourself by saying tomorrow. Because when you get to tomorrow, there will be the tomorrow will be away because you'll be in today. You'll be in now every time. When you get to tomorrow, tomorrow will be tomorrow again because you will be always in today. So if you want to do anything, do it today, do it now. If the condition is right for you, then do it. Don't wait. Like the Buddha, he said, now is the time for me to go, to leave the palace. When he heard of the news of his wife giving birth to his son, then he just said, if I stay, I will not be able to live forever because the son is like a bondage to me. It's like a shackle. So he has to run away from the shackle. So each person might have to find the right condition to leave, to take up the monastic life.
And next, 2 questions from Poliang Soon. Whetherท่านอาจารย์ encourage us to listen other Ajahn about Dhamma teaching, especially in meditation.
Only with the Buddha. I encourage you to listen to the Buddha's teaching. The Buddha is the best, the original teaching that you should learn and use it as the standard to measure the teaching of other teachers. If you don't study the Buddha's teaching, when you go study with other teachers, you don't know whether they're teaching correctly or not. So you first should study from the Buddha himself, which is in the sutta, the important suttas, like the first sutta, the Dhammacakkappavattana sutta, the Mangala sutta, the Satipatthana sutta, Anattalakkhana sutta. These are the teaching of the Buddha that you should learn before you go study with other teachers. Because if you don't, then you won't know whether this teacher is teaching you correctly or not.
And the last question is the nimitta will appear frequently.
If the nimitta appear frequently, well, it's just the nature of your mind to have nimitta. The way to deal with them is to ignore them when you meditate. Okay, anybody else would like to ask any more questions? Please raise your hand. Oh, we have a new person who just came in. Huh? Asing, you just came in?
Yes, hi, Prajan.
Where are you from?
Thank you for your
I'm from
teaching.
Singapore.
A question on last.
Wait, okay, go ahead. Asing.
Greetings to you, sir. I just wanted to share some practice of my experience of practicing Vipassana over the years for the benefit of everybody. Yes, I noticed that a lot of people probably do not realize the importance or the benefits of practice. Therefore, probably over the years, they may just drop off. Because usually when we learn from good teachers like yourself, we do not see the application into our daily life, so therefore unable to see the benefit. So what I'm trying to share is that about more than 6 months ago, I had a terrible fall. Had a very deep cut on my face, about here. So sent to hospital for stitches, 25 stitches. So when I had a fall during exercising, so the first thing that came to my mind, my head hit the ground. So what happened was I just watched the sensation on the head, this area. The pain is very intense. Just watch the sensation. I will try to remain calm with the object being the sensation here. So I just crouched on the floor. The pain was very intense, so I cannot do anything. I cannot react. The habit of watching sensation just kicks in. So just watching the sensation just keep changing. For about the intense sensation, which we call it pain, it takes about 10 seconds. and then the sensation just no more. It's just sensation. It's just throbbing, pulsating, just different types of sensation. But then I was in the hospital. I waited for 6 hours before the surgery. Throughout the whole time, a lot of doctors, nurses, they are very kind. They keep coming up to me. They say that, oh, do you need an injection? Do you need a painkiller? Or even morphine or anything? I say, no, it's fine. But I have blood all over my face, my shirt. So, but I said, no, I'm okay.
Can you summarize what you want to say?
I wanted to say that the importance of watching sensation instead of reacting to the pain. That even if the life have to end at that point of time, I was able to maintain calm without realizing that all these 8 years of practicing, actually it did come into very useful, and we won't know when the test will come. When it comes, yeah.
Sometimes you want to take the test before it comes, you can then generate a situation that might force you to take the test, like sitting for a long time until your body become painful. You can do that also.
Yes. So sometimes over the weekend, I may sit at home. If times allow, I may sit at home to 1 to 5 hours. There's no pain. It's just calm and just quiet. So just watching sensation only. I'm mainly doing the Vedana Vipassana. So it's just sensations. It's pain. Yeah.
If you sit for many hours, if there's no pain, it means you must have moved your body, right? You don't want to move your body.
Did not move. Did not move. The sensation, there is sensation, but
then
it is
if there's no pain, then maybe because you go to sleep.
No, there's no sleep. I am aware. There is sensation, but it is manageable. I would say it is manageable.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's good for you.
Thank you, sir. I just want to share for the benefit of others.
Yes. That's very good of you then.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have any question?
We have question from Facebook. One question.
Okay, go ahead.
One more question from Sam Fernando. Dear Ajahn, thank you for your teachings. A question on last citta. Is there benefit for a dying person to be in a presence of a monk who can chant blessing? Will this action make the rebirth in a better realm? Thank you.
No. You have to rely on yourself. The monk should teach you when you're still alive, when you're well, that you can, not at the last moment for him to go sit and chant for you. It will not make your mind calm, because your mind will be afflicted with so much pain and fear that it will not be able to calm itself down. So, no, usually this is not the practice. The practice is for you to prepare yourself for the last moment now by practicing more mindfulness and wisdom until you can calm your mind down yourself. You don't need a monk to go and chant for you. You have to chant yourself to calm your mind down. Okay, anybody else would like to add? Somebody new just come in? Papichaya, where are you from?
Thailand.
Thailand. You want to have any question? This is an English session.
Yeah, no, sir.
Huh?
No question, sir.
Okay, no question. Anybody would like to? Constant, okay.
Ajahn, I have a question that builds on a question earlier about family members. I know you mentioned that if it's our children, we can try to teach them. But how about if it's our parents who we really want to help, but their tendencies just doesn't allow them to listen?
Then it's too bad. What can you do?
Does it help to pray or chant or try to transfer merits to them? Can that be done?
No, you have to do it. They have to do it themselves. You might find ways to get them interested by doing it yourself as an example. And if they find that you are you're better than them, they might want to follow you then. Like the Buddha, he had to become a Buddha first before he can then show how good it was to be a Buddha. Then other member of the family then wants to follow him. So many of his relatives became monks and nuns and became enlightened by following his example. So you can lead them by showing by your example, but not by words, but by action, by your behavior. If you seem to behave better, then they might be inspired from your behavior, and they might want to learn from you and ask you, how did you do it? How come you become so beautiful now before you're so ugly, for instance?
Okay, I will continue working on myself. Thank you, Thanajan. Thank you.
Anybody would like to ask any question? Just raise your hand and unmute the microphone.
Belinda.
Belinda?
Dhanajan, can you guide us on Kanti, patience, towards others and towards ourselves?
To both, to yourself and to others. When you're restless, you are agitated, you have to calm yourself down. Or you have to be patient and let it calm down by itself. If you cannot calm itself down, then you just have to let it calm itself down. Same way with other people. Okay? Because being agitated, being restless is not good for the mind. And sometimes it takes time for things to calm down, to get what you want. So you just have to be patient and do what you have to do. Okay? Anybody?
Claudia, she raised his hand. Okay, Claudia.
Yes, so I have a remark regarding to our conference last week when we had this conversation with Kenneth. I also got in touch with him when he mentioned about the people who feel being born in the wrong body. And what I also told Kenneth is something I also want to tell you. So I never had the feeling to be born in the wrong body, but when I was a very small child, I had the feeling that I was born in the wrong country. And I started to speak English in the age of 5 years without going to school. And I got a lot of troubles because I always had the feeling that Germany is not my home country. So what I want to say is that I was so happy, or I still feel so happy that I got in touch with the teaching of the Buddha, because this feeling to be born in a wrong country and not feeling at home, I also told my parents they are not my parents. So I think the teaching of the Buddha really helped me not to get insane with this. And now I'm 51 years old, and to me now it's normal that things like this can happen. And to me it's very important to talk about this, to give a kind of normalcy when people say, oh, I'm in the wrong body or I'm in the wrong country, and that it's really a blessing to be in touch with the teaching of the Buddha and just to let it go.
That's right. Just to be in harmony with the people and place that you live with.
Yeah.
Don't live in conflict. Don't live in conflict. Conflict can cause you a lot of stress and unhappiness.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It cost me about I had stress for about 40 years with all this. And so 10 years ago, I changed from Mahayana to Theravada. And one of my Theravada teachers made it very clear that I don't need to re-experience this again when I aim Nibbana. So, and this is my motivation to practice the teaching of the Buddha. It's very difficult, of course, it's very difficult. I have a family, I still have a severely disabled foster child, but I don't give up because it's the truth.
You just do what you can, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you for your input. Anybody else?
See Evie from Indonesia.
Go ahead, Evie.
Yes, Ajahn. Ajahn,
Go ahead.
why I have like having negative thoughts, like to label anything. For example, when I see people fighting over something, my mind will label this person is full of greedy, hatred, and delusion, which creates a fight. I always see these three things in many human habits. And if I see the sadness or pleasure, well, my mind will say, oh, this is just anicca, dukkha, anatta. All will pass away. When I see the beautiful or handsome person, my mind will label again. Behind that beautiful body is just a pile of bone and organ, the flesh, and eventually he will or she will grow old. And when I look the rich people or poor people, my mind will saying again, they all are the same. They have temporarily dukkha and the pleasure, coming and going. All my thoughts are like this, Ajahn. Is this capable?
Sometimes whatever you label, if it's according to the truth, then it's good. If it falls within the three characteristics of existence, then it's good label. But if it's not, then it's not good label to label. Just try to see everything as anicca, as dukkha, as anatta. Label everything with anicca, dukkha, anatta, not other label. Don't label them good, bad, or right or wrong, or anything like that. Just label them as anicca, dukkha, anatta.
In my meditation half a year ago, I often experienced growing old, being a corpse when the flesh was pressed does not rise again. The corpse body will, with all conditions, often appear. This all made me have thoughts like I explained above. Even though I have not experienced such meditation experience like that again, like growing old, being a corpse, seeing content of the body, but all this have made an impression until now. I wonder why now I cannot experience this kind of experience anymore at this time. Is this a setback?
It depends on what you do now. So if you concentrate more on mindfulness, then you will stop thinking more. So if you try to develop mindfulness, then you have to put this labeling, suspend it temporarily first. Don't use it. You want to first calm your mind and make your mind stable. Once you can do this, then you can come back and then force your mind to start labeling everything again. But you should label them as anicca, dukkha, anatta, or as a sukha only.
Okay, Ajahn, but it's very hard now. I don't know why I cannot go to that again.
Well, you don't have to. Right now, I think you should try to stop your thought first. You should try to calm your mind first before you go to start to label thing again. Okay?
Yeah,
All right.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Anybody else? Any question?
One question from Facebook.
From Sam first. Okay, Sam, hold Tamil. You raise your hand.
Okay.
Yeah. I just want to have one question, Ajahn.
Speak louder, please.
Yeah, one question, Ajahn. It's not important, but I just read on your Facebook articles, I think, or Facebook post that you mentioned actually the Buddha who has parinibbana is actually, it's like a, this is a, I couldn't remember exactly, but you described about dreamlike state. Somebody asked about when we're dreaming and everything. But on the other hand, also I read book about Ajahn Man, the thick book. Inside the book, it's just English translation. It mentioned actually Ajahn Man communicated with the previous Buddha. I just still couldn't understand Ajahn. So when the Buddha parinibbana, so it's actually the body dissolved and the Panchakhanda doesn't come again. But then, so I mean actually we can still communicate with the like Siddhartha Gautama or even previous Buddha, or even a enlightened being who has attained Arahantasip. So that's my question.
The point is that after the Buddha and the Arahanta, his mind doesn't die with the body. See, the five khanda remains. One of them will disappear, which is the Rupa khanda, the body, but the other four still within the mind itself. The Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana is still in the mind of the Buddha and in the mind of the Arahant. And they can use this to communicate with other mind. If other mind has the capacity to connect with them, you have to have the capacity, which means you have to have upachara samadhi. If you have upachara samadhi, then you connect with other minds, with our bodies.
So in a situation, what is
like the Buddha connected his mind with his mother's mind. His mother died many years ago, 7 days after he was born. But 35 years later, when the Buddha became enlightened, he can reconnect with his mother's mind and then taught her the Dhamma.
Yeah. So in that situation, what is the differences between beings, enlightened being who attain Nibbana with the highest Brahma? They also doesn't have a body.
The difference is that the highest Brahma still have defilement. See, the defilement hasn't yet been purified, hasn't yet been gotten rid of by vipassana, by wisdom. So this, when the force of concentration becomes weakened, then the defilement will start to function again, and this will cause the mind of the Brahma to be reborn as a human being again.
I see, I understand. So Ajahn, when you attain Arahantasip, then actually, and then you finish with the body, the mind's not gone forever, Ajahn.
The mind is still there, like before. The mind never disappears. Whether it's enlightened or not enlightened, your mind, my mind, the Buddha's mind will still remain the same. The difference in the mind is different. The mind of the Buddha is pure from defilement, while your mind is still not pure, and this impurity will cause you to take rebirth. Without the impurity, then it will not cause the mind to take rebirth. That's only the difference between the mind of an enlightened and the mind of those who is not enlightened.
Sure. So rebirth in the 32 realms, isn't it, Ajahn?
The 3 realms of existence.
Existence.
The 3 realms.
Anagami, they're still taking rebirth, but Arahant, yes. No.
Right, no, because the Anagami still have some defilement left.
I see, I understand. Thank you. Thank you.
Only the Arahant who has completely got rid of all the defilements. So he will not take rebirth in the 3 realms of existence anymore. But he could still connect with the mind of those people who are still in the three realm of existence, if he wants, if he wishes to connect with them, and they have the capacity or the ability to connect with him. So it works both ways. Like Ajahn has the ability to connect with the mind of those who have no body. So if the mind if the Buddha, one of the Buddhas, maybe have some connection in the past with Ajahn, he might want to come and say hello or find out how Ajahn mind is doing, for instance. And maybe try to help him by teaching him, like the Buddha did with the mind of his mother.
I see, I understand, Ajahn. Sorry, Ajahn, it's one more question still related to this. So previously, actually, I actually went into Mahayana teaching. So in terms of this particularly same question, they commented actually, oh, don't go for Arahanta seat, because when you attend Nibbana, it's not finished, but they have their concept is actually even enlightenment for Arahanta seat. It's not the pure enlightenment, still a little bit of kilesa. I may not, this may not be the wrong word, but there's still a little bit of not perfect. But they said go for Buddhahood, which is bigger and then not, it's different from Arahantasi. But I'm saying the Buddha is also an Arahan. So
that's right. It's a misunderstanding on their part. The Buddha and the Arahan are the same as far as the mind is concerned. They are pure mind. No defilement left, no rebirth. The only difference is that the Buddha became enlightened by himself, by his own ability, while the Arahan, the noble disciple, has to wait for a Buddha to teach them. They don't have enough wisdom to become enlightened by themselves.
Yeah. So if the Arahan is all the same, Sama Sambuddha is also Arahan, and Arahan, the Sawaka Buddha Sawa is also Arahan. So why the Sama Sambuddha want to take very painful journey to become Sama Sambuddha, which is taking long time, rather than just okay, I just go for Arahantasi and finish.
That's because during the time of cultivation for enlightenment, there was no teacher to teach him, so he has to rely on himself, like the Buddha. He went after teachers before. All the teachers could only teach him to go to the Brahma world, but they could not teach him to go to Nibbana. So then he had to find the path himself. The condition forced him to become a Buddha. But our condition doesn't force us to become a Buddha, because we have a Buddha to teach us the path. So we don't need to go seek the path ourselves.
Yeah.
But these people are stupid. They don't want to take the path taught by the Buddha. They want to go seek the path themselves. So they will take countless of rebirths before they can become a Buddha themselves.
Yeah. Understand, Ajahn.
But if they don't have the wisdom to understand that to have a Buddha to teach them is much easier than to look for the path themselves, then I think they will never become a Buddha anyway. Because if they cannot have the wisdom to see the benefits of having a Buddha to teach you, and don't take this as an opportunity, then I don't think they will ever be able to have the wisdom to find the path themselves. So one day they will have to come back and turn their mind around and accept that if you have a Buddha to teach you, you should take that offer.
Yeah.
But they don't want to say, we have a Buddha to teach us to go to Nibbana now within 7 days, 7 months, or 7 years. But they don't want to take that offer. They want to do whatever the delusion tells them to do, to go seek the path themselves. So if they follow this delusion, then they will never be able to find the path themselves anyway. So they are like the fourth type of lotus. See? Remember, the Buddha separate people into 4 types of lotus. The 3 types of lotus are are capable of being taught. But the fourth one, they don't want to be taught by anybody. They want to teach themselves. So the Buddha could not teach them. See?
Yeah. Thank you.
That's why you have Mahayana. See, Mahayana is this fourth type of people. Before, during the time of the Buddha, there was no Mahayana. There's only one. There's only Theravada. But after the Buddha passed away, then you have monks or people who follow the teaching and they find it difficult to meditate. So they say, maybe I should wait for the next lifetime to become a Buddha myself, because in this lifetime I cannot meditate. So they find excuses by saying become a Buddha is more important than being an Arahant, a noble disciple. But they forget the goal. The goal of practice is to get to Nibbana by whichever method you can. Like you have to go home. If there's a bus, if there's a taxi, take them, right? Better than walking yourself, walk yourself home.
Yeah.
Understand?
Understand. Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay. Anybody?
Vince, sure.
Okay, Vince.
Yes, Ajahn. Just now you share with me about having jhana as the anchor, and so I try to do that. And I just want to check: is jhana as anchor just I need to observe general calm will do, or the jhana anchor means that let the mind flow within as long as there are 5 factors of jhana, that will be sufficient. And if you, let's say you fall off you drop a little bit from your calm, you just use back your initial application and sustained application and claw back to your joy and happiness as an anchor. Or do we need to purify to reach that equanimous mind or whatever?
Well, ultimately, you need to get to that point.
Oh, okay. That will be the ultimate point. So
that will be the real point.
Okay, if we
to calibrate your mind to.
If I drop, then I go back to my application, initial application, vitaka vichara, to sustain it back, and the joy, natural joy and happiness will flow. Is that correct?
Well, when you have these feelings, you should ignore them and keep concentrating.
Okay.
To get to the 4th jhana.
Right, understand. Okay. So I know to calibrate back to the original point, there is neutral and equanimous mind.
That's right, equanimity. You'll get equanimity there.
Okay. Thank you, Ajahn.
All right. Question from anybody?
Yeah, William.
William, you just came in a few minutes ago. William, can you hear us? Can you unmute your microphone?
Yes.
All right.
I just send my greetings to Bhante. Thanks very much for having this Zoom conference.
Would you like to ask any question?
Oh, Bhante, I have many questions to ask, but I can't ask just now. I think I'll have to ask later. I think the best thing would if I write to you. Is that possible?
You can write, but I don't know when it will reach your mail or reply to you.
Yes, sir.
But next time you can, when we have this Zoom meeting, you can post your question in Facebook, and then we have one of the assistant to read your question without having to review who you are. That's what you want to do.
Yes, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Okay. All right.
A question from Facebook.
Okay, more questions from Facebook.
One more question from Facebook from Po Liang Soon. Some teaching that before doing focusing the breathing, meditator better talk to our part of body, talk to our leg, back top, shoulder, hand, neck, head, face, eye, ear. after mindful, then go for focusing to breath. Can I follow this technique?
Well, you just have to try it. I cannot give you the answer, right? Yes or no. Just try it. If you find useful for your meditation, then use it. Yeah. But I never use it, so I cannot give you the answer. I just start watching the breath. But for some people, they find that they have to somehow bring their mind back to the body by going through different parts of the body first, and that's okay. I use chanting or reciting the sutta to bring the mind back to normal, to get it away from the other thoughts. Then when it come back, then I can then focus on my breathing. Then I just keep watching my breath instead. So each individual might have each different technique to bring the mind back to the present, because the mind used to go to think about other things. So when you meditate, you might have to find some ways of pulling it back before you can pulling it back to the breath. Once you can bring it back to the breath, then you can use the breath as your object of meditation. Okay. Okay, we have Sri. Okay, Sri. Okay. All right.
Ajahn, just one quick question. Like, how come Sanya is not included in the dependent origination?
Sanya?
Yeah.
Don't ask me, the Buddha. It's not important because Sankhara, Vijnana go together. See, Sannyana, Sankhara, they go together. They work in tandem usually.
Oh, okay.
You have to think. When you think of something, of hamburger, this is sanya, right? It's memory. So when you have sanya and then sanghara say, let's go grab a hamburger for us, and then sankhara come afterwards. So they more or less go together. Actually, sanya comes before sankhara. And sanya in this case is avijja. See, our avijja is sankhara, is sanya. We think of good food, good restaurant, good place to have fun. This is our avijja. This is sanya. This is sanya. But our sanya is avijja. It's under influence of avijja. But if we have Dhamma, then our sanya will be anicca, dukkha, anatta.
Yeah, so it's part of the, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not mentioned as sanya, it's mentioned as avijja instead.
Yeah.
So we want to correct our sanya. Our sanya is the problem, see. Our sanya sees things as niccang, sukhang, atta, sees things as permanent happiness and belonging to us. And in fact, they are the opposite.
Okay, it's like the view, Ajahn, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's the view.
Okay.
Sanya is view. Wrong view. Avijja is wrong view.
Yeah.
So we want to replace with right view. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. And dukkha is created by our cravings. So we have to stop our cravings.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, thank you.
Don't worry too much about these things. These are labels and names. Worry more about controlling your mind, teaching your mind about anicca, dukkha, anatta, and stop your mind from going after the sensual objects.
Yeah. Thank you.
You put the emphasis on the wrong thing. The emphasis should be stopping your defilement. Not trying to find out why this and that, why that. You know. It's like we come back to the parable, the story of man being shot by an arrow, and wants to know about who shot me, what kind of person he is, good or bad person, male or female. You're wasting your time knowing this information. What you want to know is how to get the arrow out of your body and fix the wound. So you should worry about how to get the defilement out of your mind and get rid of suffering, get rid of dukkha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. Evie?
Ajahn, can Ajahn explain to me what the meaning of kilesa? Because sometimes my mind like to label this is kilesa, that is kilesa, even though I'm not really clear about what is kilesa meaning.
Kilesa means craving for three things. Craving for sensual objects, like craving to see a movie, craving to listen to music, craving to find pleasure from sensual objects. This is kilesa. Or craving to be somebody, to be beautiful, to be rich, to be famous. This is also kilesa. Craving not to get old, not to get sick, or not to die. This is also kilesa.
It means kilesa is one thing.
One thing, something that is not possible to get, or something that doesn't last, doesn't give you the true happiness.
Kilesa is foolish. It's foolish.
Full, yeah, delusion, greed, hate, and delusion. Delusion create greed, greed create hatred. When you want something and when you cannot get it, then you get angry.
Okay, Ajahn. Ajahn, when Ajahn discussing about Ajahn Man, and I remember that I have nimitta with Ajahn Mun and Ajahn Mahaboa. Is that good? Because it happened a lot in the past half year ago.
What did you do? Cannot hear you.
When Ajahn discussed about Ajahn Mun, I remember that I have a nimitta with Ajahn Man and Ajahn Mahaboa. Is that good? Because it happened a lot in past half year ago.
It depends on what you can get from the nimitta. If it can help you advance in your practice, then it's good. If it doesn't help you in your practice, then it's not good. Okay?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anybody else? Many anchor already, you know? Maybe it's about time for us to close this meeting, okay, for now. Everybody agree? Shall we say goodbye for now? Okay, it's about 2 hours and 18 minutes. So thank you very much for your participation in this meeting. I hope that you can learn something and help you advance in your practice. In the meantime, please continue on practicing. Be mindful all the time, whenever it's possible. And I'll see you next week. Good night for now. Bye.
Thank
you ท่านอาจารย์
Thank you very much.
Thank you พี่บอยพี่หลา
Sadhu. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye bye
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Kunla.
Thank you, Kunami. Thank you, Kunla.